outclassed, outthought, and outfought. Just generally an embarrassing thrashing at the hands of Fulham. It finished Fulham 5, West Ham United 0. Yeah, don't sound too good at all, does it? Back-to-back 5-0 humblings for Fulham, that's for sure. If you were ever in any doubt about how good Declan Rice was, I think that was it today. And I think sometimes there were times when Declan played for us when he was a bit of a one-man team. I think one of those days would have been today, because I just don't think that would have happened. There was a bit of a surrender in central midfield today, but it has to be said that there was so much wrong. I do think a lot of that comes down to a lack of rotation of the squad. West Ham were so lacking in fight and endeavour and energy and ideas that Fulham, I think, just found it easy against us. I don't think it was any coincidence that the couple of chances that West Ham did really create came at the end of the game when there was just sort of fresh legs on there. But look, Fulham deserved to win this game. Absolutely. They were by far the better team in every facet, in absolutely every department. I'll deal with the full ramifications of this tomorrow, because I'm really interested to hear what David Moyes is going to say post-match. So we'll sort of deal with that tomorrow morning. Got quite a lot I'd like to say on that, because there's an awful lot clearly I'm not happy about. I've also got 2 pages worth of notes here as well. It's going to take me the duration of this video to go through actually what happened in the game, and then afterwards tomorrow we'll get for the whys, the wherefores, and you know, sort of how it could have been avoided. But it was a very, very bad day at the office. If Tottenham was a good day at the office, this was an incredibly bad one. We actually started reasonably well for the first 10 minutes, 10-15 minutes. We started, I think, on the front foot. Paquetá was playing well. He'd been deployed centrally. You had Fornals on the left-hand side, and I was quite encouraged by what I'd seen early on. Actually, was a bit of good link play between Fornals and Paquetá. There were, some good forays forward, it has to be said. There was, again, I'm talking a minuscule part of the game here, but I'm just getting to, before I get to the real nasty stuff, I want to sort of reflect on how the mood sort of changed very, very quickly in this game, because Cadusa looked strong. Moyes had made a couple of changes. Now, I mean, we'd heard that certainly Alvarez was enforced, and maybe even Emerson was enforced again. Apparently they both had sickness bugs, but it was really weird because Emerson was much better than Cresswell was. So, and look, it's really hard to do this. I don't particularly want to be nasty about anyone in particular, so we'll play this one with a straight bat, and we'll go into a little bit more depth tomorrow. Not that I'm looking to be nasty about anyone tomorrow, but it was embarrassing, a really, really embarrassing performance, it has to be said. Their first goal, nobody closed down Polina in midfield. I mean, the midfield was a big issue all day today. There's no way of saying this stuff and sounding nice. I'm just going to say it anyway. Look, there were times when Thomas Souček made Polina and even Kearney looked like Luka Modric. It was a little bit embarrassing. He wasn't the only one. If you want to see a really, really bad video, actually tomorrow's video, and we do our Patreon player rating, is going to be really bad. There's going to be some really low scores, because I thought there was so much to be absolutely disgusted about in that performance. Actually, for the goal. Look, it was Raúl Jiménez who rose up between Cresswell and between Agurd. There was maybe some miscommunication between the two of them. I thought it was more Agurd than Cresswell. It seemed like Agurd had left Cresswell with 2 men, both Jiménez and I think it was Iwobi as well. Look, he's not going to out-jump one of those, never mind both of them. So they headed the ball in the back of the net, and it was 1-0. And I've got to say, at that point, all of the life drained out of us. So that early 10 minutes that I spoke of where we looked okay, it was gone. It was completely gone at that point. And I am not surprised to see it 5-0, because after that, by the time they started lining up ready for their second goal, and you'd have to excuse me, if I get some stuff wrong, it's because I've had to write down so many damn things in this game, right? As they were, even after their first, I thought, wow. And I actually thought to myself in my mind, I wonder if they will match their 5-0 drubbing of Nottingham Forest. So I'm not surprised that it was 5-0. In fact, Agurd nearly made it 6-0 at the end. We did have a couple of chances to score, don't get me wrong, but it is reflective. 5-0 is reflective. It's not like we were unlucky with that. We deserved to get thrashed today, and we got thrashed. Willian was unmarked for their second goal. I think for the second goal, it's the trouble. There's so many to remember. I think possibly Iwobi had the shot. I think maybe Fabianski parried it. Did well to save it, but the ball was sort of parried out wide. A sort of cross came across the face of the box. The ball wasn't cleared. Horrendous defending. You don't need me to tell you it was horrendous defending. All game, we lost 5-0. It was horrendous defending. William finished the goal pretty well. It was 2-0 down at that point. Look, what was really evident in this game was that it was just too fast-paced for West Ham, I felt. That the whole game was too fast-paced for us. And I'd certainly listening to the commentary that there was a reluctance to almost blame it on fatigue and tiredness, but I felt we were tired, and that comes down to one person, and we'll deal with that tomorrow. But as I say, I want to listen to the Moyes' comments after the game. What I did feel was a tactical plan was to keep the ball in play as quickly and get the ball back on the pitch as much as possible. If you remember, we played Brentford a couple of seasons ago, and the ball was in play for something like 42 minutes. It was an all-time low. It was a record low. Every time it went out for a throw-in, it would take ages. This was the opposite of that. I don't know what the stats are, but they wanted to play at a fast pace. They wanted to play with energy, and it honestly, it absolutely sucked the life out of us. And I don't just mean outright sprinting speed. They were too fast for us. Everything they did was too fast. The way they were thinking, the way they were operating, the amount of runs they were doing, the quickness of their passing. It was all far too much for West Ham, it has to be said. So I'm going to turn my page over. 3-0, Tosin out-jumped Zuma. Soufal, bless him, he tried to sort of head it away, ended up deflecting it in himself. It was bad. It wasn't good from Zuma. It has to be said. But I mean, Zuma was poor today, and he wasn't even our worst defender. I'm not entirely sure who was. Yeah, probably a Gerd. To be fair, it would have been a Gerd or Cresswell, but a Gerd stayed on for the whole match, so it was a Gerd. But nobody was good. I mean, Soufal tried. He really did try, and he tried to get forward. But my word, he gave the ball away an awful lot. There were a few players today who fought, who had some fight, who really tried, and I do think Soufal was one of them. To be fair, he never stopped trying. Much like Jared Bowen, actually. I thought Paquetá didn't have a good game. Started well. For those first 10-15 minutes, he was good. But he did keep on fighting. It was frustrating, I think, for some of these players. But I'd never accuse anyone of downing tools, but just some players were just completely and utterly ineffective. Got a level of sympathy, actually, for Fabianski as well, to be in goal for that when he was afforded no protection really by the defence. And as I say, the midfield was just atrocious. I mean, Ward-Prowse, let's talk about Ward-Prowse there. I've mentioned Souček. Ward-Prowse, will get some additional credit because his set plays, his corners were actually very, very good. There was one I thought he caused the goalkeeper all manner of problems, and I do feel at some point he'll score directly from a corner. But that midfield from open play was completely and utterly ineffective. It was embarrassing at times, particularly at times with Souček, because he's so clumpy and he's Steamboat Willie. It's like an oil tanker turning at major points in the game, and I actually felt for him because he just can't twist or turn like some other players, and he was completely outclassed. But as I say, far from being on his own. There was a half-time switch, by the way, switch to 3 at the back. Who did he bring on? Brought on Mavropanos. Who did he bring on? He brought on Emerson as well. He took off Cresswell, and there was no bloody surprise there that he would choose to take off Cresswell. Went to 3 at the back. It made no difference. It was a shame, actually, because I was hoping something might happen. I mean, we were 3-0 down at half-time. And also, I wasn't surprised he made changes. I think the biggest problem was that the changes made no difference at all. Because he was out. Silva had done him. I think the team had struggled for their fitness levels, but it wasn't the whole thing. It wasn't the only reason. I think Silva had done his homework, as I mentioned earlier on, and the tactical switch caused Fulham no bother whatsoever. I think that the worst thing you can say about that is Fulham, after half-time, Fulham played in third gear, and they still scored another 2 goals. Obviously, it finished 5-0. It's just so many of the West Ham players. I don't want to say they weren't up for the fight. They didn't look like they could fight. I think that's kinder than saying they weren't interested. I don't feel they had any punch in them. I really didn't. 4-0, Wilson goal, really, really good goal. But just before that, because obviously, sorry, I should probably mention that Zuma had been substituted. He made all 5 subs today, David Moyes. Zuma had been substituted, but Harry Wilson had come, who's not, let's be fair, not a fast player, had done a bit of trickery and run round Zuma and sort of embarrassed him a little bit there. Wilson was going to go on and score their 4th goal. Really, really good goal. If you watch it back, though, there's definite confusion between Emerson and Agurd, and that wasn't going to be the only time during the game that Agurd was going to be found pointing and shouting at someone. In fact, if you watch him for the 5th goal, fifth goal, it's mental to say that. The 5th goal, he's all over the place. He's all over the place, right? And whilst he's running the wrong way, while the ball's going that way, and it was a sad old sight actually watching Angelo Ogbonna having to run back because he can't run anymore, really. Agurd had been going the wrong way, and Agurd is there pointing at Emerson. I don't know what Emerson's got to do with it, quite frankly. It was in a different, completely different part of the pitch. It was bad. It was really, really bad, actually, today. And there's going to be an inquest. Look, ultimately, nothing major has happened, but there was opportunity. That's what I said, didn't I? I said that in this morning's video. There was opportunity today and we didn't take the opportunity. I think we couldn't take the opportunity. And I'm sure you're getting a hint of what I'm going to be talking about tomorrow, which will very much be, why haven't we been resting players? It's not even just about rotating, is it? Let's be fair. It's about making substitutions before the 87th minute. I'm pretty certain that's one of the main reasons that we struggled today, and that's we had no energy left, and that's why, even though we'd started brightly, but once whatever adrenaline we might have had gone. By the time the adrenaline had gone and we're 1-0 down, we actually didn't have the fitness levels to actually come back into that game. It was humbling and it was humiliating, and I feel really sorry for the fans. The fans were making so much noise for the first 15 minutes. They go, whenever. As I say, I've written down so much stuff. I mean, crikey, what happened when? There's just so much to write down here. The fans have been brilliant, absolutely brilliant, and I hope there's some people be embarrassed today that the fans supported the team as much as they had those away fans, and that was what was served up. It's not fair. I can only think that they're only thankful that, particularly for the fans that live in and around London, it was only Fulham away game. I mean, if you'd gone to Plymouth and capitulated like that, you'd be pretty damn peed off, wouldn't you? Really, I said the last goal was a ball over the top, simple ball over the top. I think it was Kearney, possibly, maybe it wasn't. It was Wilson, who probably could have scored himself, but he actually, just passed it. Gave it to Vinicius for a tap-in, which was jolly nice of him, really. But that was the thing, West Ham was so poor that the bloke who was the substitute, who had already scored 1 goal, felt it was easy enough. It was such a stroll that he could be generous and just pass it to his mate to get his mate a goal. That's what it was. It was a training match for Fulham at the end, and for that, West Ham should be mightily embarrassed about what happened today. Inquest, I don't know about an inquest. I don't think there'll be one. I think we've got a match against Freiburg. I'm quite certain about a lot that went wrong today. Anyway, look, I'll leave it there. I was just me moaning about it. By the way, check out printed T-shirts on the Hammers Chat shop. Almost forgot. HammersChatStore.com. Links in the description below. We've actually got, there's 3 offers at the moment. I'm just going to look at my board. Prints are 20% off. Canning Town Lane prints. Beer mats are £4 instead of £7.50. There's 3 offers running for these 24 hours, and of course T-shirts 20% off. All your printed T-shirts. Go and check them out. They've got nice little labels, nice little Hammers Chat labels on them. Link is in the description below. Go and check them out. There'll be a different offer tomorrow, so you need to probably do it now. Probably not fancy buying any West Ham stuff at the moment, are you? But I tell you what, I would still go and do it now if you're going to need to get someone a West Ham related present. It's worth checking out now because the discounts will stop tomorrow. Thanks for tuning in. I'm gonna love you and leave you now. I'll be back tomorrow. I just want to hear what David Moyes has got to say about that.